I think the socialists are afraid. That's the subject of tonight's preamble. Wherever you look, you see polls reflecting gloom and doom for the president. Whether it's NBC or Fox polls, they claim Joe Biden is widening his lead. But as we've detailed here, those polls are oversampling Democrats, failing to recognize the massive voter registration advantage the GOP has opened up in this cycle. Those polls are meant to shape public opinion rather than reflect it. But the campaigns don't rely on biased and agenda-driven polls. They do their own polling. And it's straight polling. They need a real picture upon which to base their election strategy. And judging by the conduct of high-profile Democrat socialists in recent days, we can glean the internal polls are showing bad news for the Harris-Biden ticket. Hey, take it up with them. It's what the liberals have been calling it all along, so why quibble? Let's first examine a woman who has chosen to inject herself into the political arena, the former First Lady Michelle Obama. Like her husband, she's a liar.
They're stoking fears about Black and brown Americans, lying about how minorities will destroy the suburbs, whipping up violence and intimidation, and they're pinning it all on what's been an overwhelmingly peaceful movement for racial solidarity. It's true. Research backs it up. Only a tiny fraction of demonstrations have had any violence at all. So what the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
Okay, now, if the Democrats were ahead, would Mrs. Obama lie about the violence that we have seen for the last 4 or 5 months in an absurd effort to call the president of the United States a racist? Michelle appears to be citing analysis, which has not been verified, by the way, from Princeton University. That study showing that less than 10% of the thousands of protests over the summer were violent. But Mrs. Obama left out another part of that analysis. She forgot to mention that 48 out of 50 of America's largest cities suffered violence at the hands of BLM and Antifa mobs. By the way, Michelle, there were white folks, black folks, and brown folks who were killing, beating, looting, and burning their way through America's streets. They didn't have race in common. They did have political affiliation in common. They were all radical, anti-American, anti-rule of law, Democrat socialists, just like you, Michelle Obama. Oh, and one more thing. If Mrs. Obama wants to see and hear real racism, check out Jim Crow Joe.
Because the American public, the blinders have been taken off. They've all of a sudden seen a hell of a lot clearer. They've seen, geez, the reason I was able to stay sequestered in my home is because some black woman was able to stack the grocery shelf.
Can someone tell Chris Wallace over there at Fox News Sunday that Biden has said another racist statement? That way, he can make sure to ask Trump if he denounces racism again. Anyway, the suggestion that black women are suited for stocking shelves would have been met with outrage if Donald Trump had said it. But because a Democrat socialist utters a clearly racist and uninformed statement, the liberal press and Barack Obama's wife keep their pie holes shut. So, on to Beijing Biden.
I believe in law and order. I've never supported defunding the police.
Wait. He claims he never wanted to redirect funding away from police?
Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So he did want to defund the police. Another lie. But Americans should be asking themselves, why is Biden having a change of heart and just now claiming that he wants law and order? I think it's the same reason Barack Obama's wife injected herself into the debate, trying to pretend that the left wing hasn't been burning down our major cities. Their internal polling shows that they are losing. They are losing blacks. They are losing Hispanics. They're losing whites. They are losing America. The Democrat Socialist Party surrendered to the woke children in the squad. They arrayed their entire campaign on pleasing Marxist socialists and those who want to, quote, burn down our system. Democrat socialists, in an effort to appease their militants, called all of you Americans out there who didn't want to defund the police, they called you racists, just like Michelle Obama just did to the President of the United States. And Americans don't like being falsely called racists. So the virus won't save Democrats because the president is pulling through with flying colors. Antifa and BLM terrorists won't save Democrats because Americans are repulsed by their violence and anarchy. I think the Democrat socialists are in trouble, my friends. And Obama's wife and Jill's husband, well, they know it.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.